So this time, we're going to test using AI to help grade papers. What you see on the screen now is a science test for primary 4 students in Singapore. You'll notice that it's handwritten, and then I used n8n to set up an automated process that will automatically mark comments on this paper. If the comment is in green, it means the answer is correct. If it's in red, it means the answer is wrong. After the AI finishes grading this paper, it will directly put the comments directly on the paper, making it much easier and more convenient for teachers to check and verify if the answers are correct. About a year ago, I also recorded a similar video about grading papers. Back then, I put the corrected comments into a work file for reference. But doing it that way doesn't actually save teachers much time, because the teacher still has to check what the student wrote on the paper. Sometimes it's not that the student wrote something wrong, but rather the AI makes a mistake. So this video will be divided into 2 parts for clarity. The first part will test and determine which AI is best suited for grading papers, and the second part will explain the automation process in detail. Based on my own experience, when it comes to recognizing text in images, OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini are both particularly strong. They can even recognize Chinese characters and various types of handwriting. Now let me show you with some numbers. We're going to test 2 models in this demonstration. As you can see, this test question actually has quite a lot of text on it, which makes it a bit more challenging. Some models are very good at recognizing and interpreting text, but when there's too much text in a single image, their performance can start to drop off about halfway through. Now let's first test Google's Gemini. I'll be using their latest model, which is called 2.5 Pro. Let's take a look at the results. Here, It correctly recognized all of the answers, but it did misread one of the questions during the process. Specifically, this question should have been 33 divided by 29, but instead it read it as 32 divided by 9. So as a result, it got one question wrong. Here, let me try regenerating it one more time to see if the result is the same, or if there is any difference this time. So the second time, all the results were correct. So in this test, you can see that compared to traditional OCR technology, AI can actually determine whether the answer is right or wrong, because traditional OCR only recognizes the text. It doesn't understand the meaning behind the words. Of course, in real-world applications, we actually don't need the AI to figure out whether the answer is right or wrong, because we can provide that ourselves. We can give it a model answer and have it compare the answers, right? Alright, next we're going to test and check GBT, okay? Here it is. I'll be using GPT-5 and let's take a look at the results. You'll see that for the first 15 questions, it was able to correctly recognize the text. But for the last 15, errors started to appear. For example, in question 5, it saw the number as 5/7, but in reality it's 6/7, so it made a mistake here. For question 8 here, similarly, I tried generating it multiple times. In the second round of testing, GBT still misread 7 questions. For example, in question 8, it recognized it as 59/6, but in reality, it was actually 59/9. Also, in the 5th question of the second part, it should have been 5/7, but the correct answer is actually 6/7. So through this, in these 2 comparative tests, I found that Wenli 2.5 Pro actually has noticeably higher accuracy than OpenAI's 7GBT. Secondly, Wenli is just a bit faster overall. And another thing which not many people know about is that Gemini, when recognizing text, can even output the coordinates of the recognized content. These coordinates are extremely useful because in our automation process, they let us know exactly where to place each individual comment on the interface. However, you should note that the coordinates aren't very precise. There will be some slight discrepancies or minor differences in placement. So, in the first part, we've carefully figured out which model is more suitable and appropriate for grading. Next, in the second part, I'll explain the n8n automation workflow in detail. Actually, the core focus and the most important aspect of the entire automation process is we use an API called pdf.co. The feature you just saw, where the AI leaves comments on the PDF document, is achieved through this API. It allows you to add text to a PDF file, and when you add text, you need to provide both an X and a Y coordinate. These coordinates specify exactly where the text will appear on the page. You need to provide the specific page number of the PDF document, and you can even control and customize the color of the text that is displayed. So in this example here, I set it up so that if the answer given is correct, the text will appear in green, and if the answer provided is incorrect, it will be shown in red. Now, as for determining whether the answer is right or wrong, there are actually two main approaches that can be used. The first approach is to let the language model itself make the judgment, and the second approach is for the teacher or instructor to provide a model answer for comparison. Of course, providing a model answer, it will be much more stable. For example, for this question, getting it right is worth 1 point. So when the teacher provides a model answer, they can specify exactly which key points need to be included to earn points. For instance, sometimes a question is worth 2 points, so in the model answer, it can be clearly stated that if the student's response includes A or B, then they get 2 points, and so on. Next, let's talk about the automation process. When students submit homework or exam papers, it's usually a stack of A4 sheets, right? So this stack can actually be put into a photocopier to be turned into a PDF file. Then this n8n automation process will provide a convenient and easy to use form, and you can directly upload the scanned PDF document which you obtained from the photocopier to this form online. At the same time, you can also choose to upload the model answer if you wish. If you don't upload the model answer, then the language model will rely on its own ability to grade the papers. Of course, for it to grade the papers, it needs to see both the exam questions and the student's answers at the same time. After that, you can submit it. The whole process is, after receiving the PDF, we use the Gemini API to grade the papers, and then use the earlier mentioned PDF API to insert the grading comments into the PDF. So what are the other steps? So since this API only accepts a PDF link, when the teacher uploads a PDF in this form, it will be immediately saved to Google Drive. That way, we can then provide a Google Drive PDF link. Now let's take a look at how the Gemini prompt works. Here I tell it that it needs to check for the student's homework and then your output. This is intended for use within the API. Therefore, you need to provide the complete text of the student's handwriting, the XY coordinates of your comment, and also the page number. Person comes. If you see that their answer is correct, then use green. If their answer is incorrect, then use the color red. This is an example of the output. Since the AI's commenting and uploading to PDF are performed through two separate processes, we need to merge them together here. Here, I use an AI agent, which essentially takes the output from the Google German API and then tidies up the format, because sometimes the output from that system is not formatted well enough. So I added another AI system to further adjust, review, and carefully check whether the format is correct, which can help to reduce the chance of errors. Therefore, after using this AI agent to check and verify the format, we can then pass it to the PDF API to add the comment into the PDF document. Then it will provide a download link for the PDF document. Finally, I upload this PDF file to my Google Drive account. So the whole process is that, for example, a teacher drags 10 students' PDF files into the spreadsheet at once, waits for about 10 minutes, and then receives 10 corrected PDF documents. Now, let me open it and take a look at the result. This PDF has a total of 2 pages, and it's a science test for primary 4 students. Earlier in the Gemini API, I told it that if the answer is correct, it should be marked in green, and at the same time, it should provide the content of the student's handwritten text, so it's easier for the teacher to review in case there are any misread characters. For the first question, it says, the chocolate drain will decrease, so it successfully recognized the answer, and the answer is correct. For the second question, the answer is, the chocolate will lose heat to the ice and decrease. The recognized text is very accurate, and this response is correct. For the third question, the answer is wrong. It says, CQ have, but it should be greater. Notably, when the student wrote a character incorrectly, the recognition system also followed the mistake. Moving on to the second page, all 3 questions are correct, and the recognized text is accurate. Overall, there is still room for improvement. For example, some of the text goes outside the PDF area, so that needs to be adjusted. Also, its XY coordinates aren't perfectly accurate, but they're acceptable. This is because the text shouldn't overlap with the student's handwritten words. If it completely covers the student's handwriting, then it becomes very difficult to compare. Another area for improvement is that actually a standard PDF supports adding layers. The advantage of these layers is that they can all be displayed at once on the left side. In addition, you can simply click to easily zoom in or out on these notes. Now, this is just a quick test. If any teachers are actually interested in using this automation, you can leave a quick comment below to let me know. If there is interest, I will spend more time further improving this automation process. So coming up in November, there will be 2 events. The first event, on November 30th at Eslight Bookstore in Causeway Bay, Hong Kong, I will be launching my second book titled AI is King. Registration for this event will open soon. And if you attend the new book sharing session that day, you'll get a discount if you buy the book on the spot. And one day before the new book sharing session, that is Saturday, October 29th, we will have a 1-day n8n workshop. The automation process you just saw. I will also be sharing it there. Participants in the workshop will get to use it. If you want to know more about the course content, feel free to click the link below the video. See you in the next video.